thinking about Madame Curie. No, seriously. That's definitely where I've landed here. Madame Curie. Go with me on this. I mean, just thinking about the unfairness of life in the world. You managed to become an educated woman in the 1800s when literally nobody appreciates you whatsoever. And you managed to make a major scientific discovery and add another element to the base elements of the entire world. Just that we still look back to today. And that element that you discover gives you cancer and kills you. If that isn't the ultimate pitch, if that isn't the ultimate movie pitch, I don't know what is. What are you with me, people?
I mean, I can live with it. Yeah.
You can live with it.
Yeah.
Are you asking if we can dig it?
Can you dig it?
Are you asking if we can dig it?
Can you dig it?
Well, it's Doug.
Can you dig it? Nah, seriously, what a kick in the dick, though. I mean, really, God, I was just thinking about that the other night, just lying in bed. Yes, this is what I think about. This is what wakes me up at night, is thinking about the unfairness of Madame Curie. That's just, that made me really, really sad, man. I'm like, come on, you deserve better than that. Come on, you got to get some more accolades in your time, and can't let the very element that you study take you out. Well, it is I, Josh, the Birdman, bringing in with that cheery holiday thought, without a doubt, bringing us back around the nice little warm fire to roast our chestnuts by, or whatever you want to roast, maybe squirrel meat. I don't know. I'm sure it's regional. Hey, Appalachia, they're gonna do squirrel meat, right? Don't give me that look. Come on, you never tried squirrel? You gotta try squirrel.
No, yeah, you go ahead and piss off those people.
I'm not casting dispersions on squirrel meat like you're trying to squirrel your way out of.
Oh, I see.
I am here all evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Do not forget to tip your way.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Try the special. The meatloaf is great.
Mm-hmm. Bringing it on home. You have indeed landed in the den of the steam, gentlemen. Your number one source for pop culture and for social commentary. That's right. We're tying it all together here at the end of the year. Only took us 8 months to really land on that. Good times. We're not the fastest.
Yeah, no, very unique. Yeah. We really dug deep on that.
We dug deep. Yeah.
Second time we said Doug today. I haven't said Doug in years. I don't know how this has happened.
Dig it, Doug it. It's Doug.
If I'm playing Doug tomorrow, it's over. The apocalypse is happening.
Doug.
Which, by the way, Doug 2 was one of my favorite Christmas gifts of all time. That was a great game.
We were talking off air about your other favorite Christmas gifts, so we're definitely
I actually got to use this for more than 10 minutes.
Use that one. Rashawn famously talked himself out of a Christmas gift that year, apparently before, not Doug 2, but apparently before he
Fun fact, because I don't know how my parents didn't kill me. I actually ended up doing that again. I didn't learn my lesson. I did it again, but this time my mom hit me with the disappointment and also knowing that my brother blackmailed me the week leading up to it. So she had watched me do extra chores for a week. She knew exactly what happened. And then she hit me with the disappointment. I barely used what I got for Christmas on that one. I mean, my mom was an ace on these things. God bless her.
Wow.
Merry Christmas, people.
As I was saying, we're not the quickest students in the room, but we're just persistent. We have a stubborn streak. We're not. Part of that maybe for having to stay back a grade or two. And, my 6 years of college taught me something. I'm just saying it,
I should have had 6 years, frankly.
It stays there. But yes, it is the steam, gentlemen. Back in the steam tunnels to wrap up the year. We're kind of finishing up here. We wanted to come back out, say thank you, and give our holiday and Christmas tidings to all, and really just to be unwrap our gifts and be thankful for the meantime. We started to hear there from the 3 of clubs. How's the week been treating you there, Rashad?
The week has been fucking awful, but I'm having a great time now with you individuals. I love and miss you, and I'm happy to be here.
Oh, that is it. And I see Greg is bringing out his Ash Williams figure for the holidays. Nothing says Christmas like a chainsaw attached to your wrist. How you doing there, Star?
How you get your Christmas trees? I mean,
right?
Exactly. That's the way it's got to be. And jumping up your girlfriend in that case, but.
I'm feeling all right. I did not have that problem as a child because one, my parents weren't really into buying presents anyway, so I can't really relate. And two, I was a fantastic liar as a child. I wouldn't have had that problem. I never had the chance to have that problem.
Don't get me wrong. It wasn't that I couldn't lie. It's just I felt guilty.
I disagree. You couldn't lie. Well, you gotta stick by your lies, even as the guilt and the shame. You are deceiving. You're deceiving people that love you, and you have to follow through. All right.
You owe it.
They're looking at you, giving you total faith, and you are going to lie to them. That's what's going to happen right now. They still think of you as without sin, and you are proving that shit wrong in your heart as we speak. And you've got to follow through, not just for yourself, so you get your toy, but for them as well, because then the curtain is pulled back. There's no turning back. Their little one knows what evil is.
We're learning a lot about Greg today, and we're learning a lot about Rashawn today. I mean, really,
just saying.
We're getting into a lot of psychological meat here. It's all
I'll leave it at this. I'll leave it at this. And I'm not lying. This is, I swear to God, this actually.
We know you're
happened.
not lying. We know you're not lying. We're positive you're not lying. Go right ahead.
Clear on that fact. That's
oh shit. Yeah. So the night of my wedding, I'm having a great conversation with my uncle, a man who I've loved and adored and respected my entire life. As shit you not, he looked at me at one point in the conversation, because at this point we're both weeping. It's a great emotional moment. He's like, when you're a kid, a lot of us didn't think you would make it, and he left it at that. He just left it at that. It's like, I'm like, whoa. What the fuck happened in my childhood that I didn't know about? That everyone was like, Rashawn, is he still here? Is he still around?
Maybe.
He didn't even finish it with you, but look at you now. He just was like, yeah, we didn't think we're going to be okay.
But thinking about it, like I'm filtering these stories. So you guys, I've fallen for stories before. I'm getting hit by a car. I've flipped on my head. I've done so many different weird things. So like looking back, I'm like, shit. It's kind of weird. I did fucking make it. Rock fights was one of my favorite hobbies. I mean, what the fuck?
Oh, we had rock fights.
Yeah, you learn how to throw and duck when you're throwing a rock. And you're trying to mess with
absolutely. Yeah.
Dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. We know the principle. That shit's
real.
That's builds up the reflexes, builds up the tolerances. But I find it fascinating how the two of you approached the same problem and maybe came up with different solutions. I'm not sure, but when it comes to an honest answer, I know I'm going to Rashawn. That's all. But sometimes I don't want an honest answer, so it's okay to go to Greg.
I get that problem a lot.
That's all right. It just you really just need to know when and how to pick your moment. But we here at the Steam Gentleman kind of wanted to get together today. That we've talked a bit about it. It's been a hell of a time. We haven't been on the air such as it is for a full year, but we're coming to the end of our calendar year, and we just wanted to reminisce a little bit. Take that moment to walk it back through and look over where we've been in the past year. So consider this episode as I begin in my little portion as looking as that Christmas letter that you get from your relatives every year. And they're so diligent and they put all of that wonderful information in it about what's happened to little Bobby and little Timmy and all the, and their school plays and everything they've been through. And then you promptly crumple that shit up and throw it right out in the trash. As we all know, you absolutely should, as any decent person would. But that's where we're at here. But we started this show. God, when did we start? Back in April of 2021. Because it was just such a great time to start any new endeavor. The world was doing so well at that point.
What else are you doing?
Exactly.
We could have been baking bread, man.
We
Call
could have
you
been.
know,
We could have been making sourdough. This was, this show is our pandemic puppy, right?
or
But
iguana.
or
Yeah.
iguana or what have you. It doesn't shit on the rug though. So I mean, we got that going for us. You don't have to walk our show. We can take that around. But we had this concept, I say we had a concept. It was really born out of me really desperately wanting to do a podcast, and me coming to Greg and Rashawn and begging them to do it with me. And God knows how. Maybe it was just like the kids with Homer Simpson asking him to take them out St. Splashmore. I just kept doing it over and over and over again until they finally said yes. And thank God they did. And thank God they did too, because I had all
He
sorts
asked
of,
us once.
I had all sorts of lofty ambitions about research and all kinds of ideas about, historical concepts. And then the mighty three of clubs just said, why don't we just do what we do and just get together and talk shit? And it was just sheer genius. That absolute moment of, he's completely right. Like, what am I talking about? I don't have any of the skills that I don't have any of the time to research any of this shit that we're talking about, or go on into go on in and do deep dives or anything of that nature. And thus the Steam Gentleman was born. And I'm going to give full credit again to Rashawn, because he came up with the name. So gotta always make sure giving proper credit where proper credit is due. So thank you, Rashawn.
Love you too, Fink.
I love you. Absolutely, brother. Without this, I knew I was trying to actually, you helped me talk Greg into it, because I've been on Greg for a little while. And then, thank God I got you in on that group text, which is how we really started rolling and sending each other funny movie memes and what have you, and then coming up with a name. So I'm so glad you did. This will be episode 29. I broke a couple up into two-parters as you're coming on in there. So we got a little ways to go till we get to that year mark. But also wanted to say that a lot of you, we see a lot more of you listening out there, and we're extremely grateful for that, extremely thankful. And we hope we're doing better here for you. We want to keep bringing you some quality entertainment and really just kind of musing over the state of the world and over our favorite things, of course, which are movies, comic books, television shows, video games, anything to do with pop culture, and of course music, and occasionally literature. We like to pretend we're highfalutin now and again. We try it. We fake it till you make it. Right?
I have been known to falut.
Absolutely. Greg is a wonderful faluter, by the way. Just to let you know.
I'm not against those that falut.
He is Greg is being self-effacing right now. There are people who falut, and then there is Greg. Greg falutes like nobody else. Nobody.
And we don't kink shame.
No, not at all. Not at all. In this case, I'm kink encouraging, I guess, because go on out and falut, young man. Falut everywhere. Take your faluting to the high seas. But I did just want to, I'm going to take one moment just to reminisce over a couple episodes that I really enjoyed and that meant a lot to me. And actually going back to episode 2 in this particular case, which was entitled Come Out to Play, which was our second episode, second time ever meeting. But I'm just so damn proud of us there, because we made it to a second episode, right? This was really a true leap of faith of a couple of guys who just were like, let's just get on a mic, and get on the computer and see what happens. And I just had such fun talking about one of my favorite movies in the Warriors. It was just such a great time talking about, this weird little corner, this weird little niche of pop culture that maybe people had seen the movie, maybe hadn't. It's just it's one of those if moments, but a film that's so still near and dear to my heart, and how we were really going into all the subcultures that it was uncovering at the time. And just, that particular snapshot in that moment of the 70s, and just why it still holds up, and why it's still just such a wonderful film to watch even after all this time. And I still want to, if I am one day, just for 5 minutes, cool enough to wear tight, skinny blue jeans and a cut and no shirt, if I can get just a half a second, I can die happy. If I could ever pull that look off, even for like a minute, I will die a happy man.
You're a
Good luck to
liar.
you.
I've known this man for a long time. I've worked out with him. He can do that now.
Oh, I mean, there were no Wookiees. You notice though, it was the 70s, so somehow they like genetically took out men's ability to grow back hair. Like that's my problem. Like the chest hair, good, but you know, thanks to dad and the Ashkenazi heritage, you know, it's just that's just what kills it. Then again, I'm wearing the cut, so maybe I can cover some of that up. Who knows, right? It's like, you know, with the colors.
It'll look like you're wearing a half a jacket. Like it'll be billowing out away from your chest like that.
There, exactly. And it goes on there. And then the other one I just wanted to say that I'm still damn proud of, as we go forward, was the Pathos of Riddick episode, just because I got to play the heel. I got to be the unapologetic Jew and just, you know, go to the mat for my man Vin Diesel, a guy I don't even really want to defend, right? This was truly an
That's fine.
exercise in, you know, this was like constitutional justice. It's like, you know, I hate what you say, but I will defend with my last breath your right to say it. Of all people trying to, you know, to defend Vin Diesel in his science fiction endeavors, right? It just, you know, there I was before the Hague going to the mat. Yes, I think I just compared Vin Diesel movies to a war crime. I just want to say that.
I mean, if you watch them in succession, those are your words, not mine. Those are your words, not mine. That's all I'm saying.
And these are what his friends are saying about him, right?
I left out Triple X. I was being nice. All right. I could have gone so further in. I left out
deep.
So
That's
much.
true.
It's true. I mean, let's face it. I mean, Vin Diesel does, in fact, you know, leave you with plenty of ammunition to work with, without a doubt, right? I just want an award for my defense. That's all.
Quick,
I'm saying.
tell me the difference in abilities between Triple X character and what Chronicle of Riddick's story went into. Tell me the difference. Tell me the difference in powers. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, they're the same thing. Which, by the way, are the same in Fast and Furious.
Low light sight. That's all you got. Other than that, everything's.
It went away. It went away after Pitch Black. That was my point. It was all stupid.
Right. You know, who knows? You know, so we'll. That's about all he had, right?
Don't
so
make me fight.
I ain't fighting, just merely presenting to the court. I want my Alan Dershowitz award. That's all I'm saying. Me and Dersh. Dersh, I was
over here thinking like you're going full Dershowitz, but I'm not going to say it. I'm not even going to do that to my man Fink. And here you are, just bringing it on yourself.
I'm throwing myself under the bus. Okay, I mean, I get it. I know what I'm doing. But Dersh, I want a weekend on the vineyard. That's all I'm saying. I think you owe me that. I think because of just general principle of standing
that
up.
might get you indicted, man. You might want to
go
next door to his house.
I mean, as far as Vin Diesel goes, I mean, I think between Iron Giant and Guardians of the Galaxy, you don't really need to do any more explaining.
Yay, I am Groot.
Yeah,
we are Groot.
Full stop. That's it. Yeah,
I'm 100% with you. But
Josh, don't give him more credit. He only says Groot. He didn't add any pronouns in there. He didn't add anything else in there. Any sentence. Well, it was Groot. Don't try to give him more credit.
If you look at the script, each of those I am Groot means something. He gives a different inflection. That's acting, my boy, acting.
That's also range.
My dear boy.
That's also range. And that's about a cubic centimeter.
The emotional gamut from A to little a, without a doubt. Running that whole line. But you know, as I wind up my time here, it's been fantastic. It's been a wonderful journey. It really has brought a lot of extra meaning to my days, and I love it. I'm looking forward to bringing more to people. We really want to. For any of you listening out there, if you've got ideas, you know, make sure we've got Do You Even Steam Bro at Gmail. Feel free to write into us, interact with us. We want to hear what you're saying. We want to hear your thoughts. We really want it to be a fun time, you know, a little respite from your week, and just, you know, the way to think about, you know, we know there are plenty of people out there who are quirky like us, who think about things in the ways that we do, and really think about pop culture and what it means in our social commentary, right? That's the fun part. Pop culture is a mirror. It holds up to where we were at, you know, wherever we are at the time. It's always holding, you know, the mirror back up to ourselves. That's why I think we landed on this subject. It's a comfortable one. We all know it. We all enjoy it. And we like to use it to make fun of each other, and make fun of ourselves, and make fun of society as a whole, and just try and have a moment and try and have a laugh and not take it too seriously. But I'm looking there at the three of clubs smiling at me, still loving my defense of Riddick. And just curious, what just want to hear his little Christmas letter to the world here, and to see how things were going for him, this year, where he thinks we're at, and where he thinks we're going.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a shot at this. I did not come up in the house that I did Christmas letters. It was kind of more like, did you call your grandma? Did you call your grandma? Because you got a card and there's money in it, so you better have called your grandma. I'm like, all right. So, the first and foremost, yeah, everything Josh said, totally. Gonna do my best not to get emotional, because the older I get, the more I turn to my father. And I know I've talked about him a few different times in a sense of humor. He was also the person, the most influential in my life on showing me how a grown man should have a full range of emotions. And even though he would laugh at so many different things, and his laugh was so thunderous and loud and and infectious, and it would carry through a room and stuff like that. He was also an individual who would cry at any tug of emotion that would make him want to cry, and he wouldn't shield it. He would go with it. He would let it happen. And it's one of the things that I don't run away from. I aspire to. Is one of the beautiful gifts I got from my father. And the reason why I'm leaning to that is because gifts are weird and hard to find. Part of the reason why I hope that not only everyone can enjoy this holiday, but enjoy it in a way that's universal and not dependent on consumerism. Some of the gifts that I've been able to get are these two individuals. I was just telling someone the other day about how I was able to master walking through the hallway and doing my homework. In part, that was because if Josh puts this in the edit, I was always late for shit, and my mind can completely slip and go into weird areas. And before I know it, it's like hours later, and it's hard for me sometimes to get shit done, which especially shit I didn't want to do. So like homework. So like I that was part of the reason, but the other reason was because even though I was quote unquote a fairly popular kid in high school, I never really felt like I fit in. I had best friends in weird ways, sometimes in different little circles and pockets. And they understood me in many ways, but it was never in like some of the ways I really wanted to like explore and talk about. Like I didn't have a friend that I could talk video games really with. I didn't have a friend who would like sit down and watch like sci-fi with me all the time and stuff like that. And it's not so much like it made me sad or depressed. Like I said, I was a fairly popular kid, but there was definitely always something missing. Fast forward into my 40s, or actually I would have to say into my 30s, and I meet these two stellar individuals separately at first. And that started out of friendship that grew to the point that one makes Pacific Rim 2 oddly sentimental for me. And also
wow.
We'll get to that later, listeners. But two, as Josh pointed out, how we've led to the creation of this podcast, to which led to another gift, which I've intentionally not looked at reviews for a lot of different reasons. And I know that our membership is growing. We are unofficially sponsored by Angels Mist, unofficially, as in they don't know about it. But if they want to give us money, we're cool with it.
Cool. We will work for that, man. No problem.
We have nothing against Angels Mist. I will drink it right now. I have it. If you're listening, give us money. But I'm looking at the reviews, and it's hard not to get emotional. Thank you first and foremost from the deepest part of my soul to even give us a little bit of your time to listen. some of the comments is exactly what we've been talking about, in the sense of there are other people out there who say the same weird shit like us. And I often find myself throughout my life watching something and having questions. Like anyone who really knows me knows that I am plagued by questions in my head. Sometimes they just come out. And it's not like a tick or anything. I'm not making excuses. It's just how I operate. I don't know how to work away from it. And sometimes the things I love so much make me want to have more questions. And sometimes those questions lead to how ridiculous things are. And even if I find pleasure in it, and that makes me want to talk about it. Like, how is it that no one's going to talk about how the Ewoks somehow were able to exist in this galactic empire world universe where they're not only untouched, but when like forces show up, they fuck it up. Like no one even wants to talk about that. But also they have some weird reverence for, a robot. That was shit that like would go through my head at like 8 years old, and I wouldn't have anyone to really talk about it. So, or things like how I want to keep this positive, so I'll stay away from Riddick. Right. But we can stay. Look, Vin Diesel, if you're listening, all I'm saying, man, is you got talent. Just use it. All right. I want to say on task, but God damn it, man, you can do so much better. Like, stop it. Stop trying to feed your ego. You're already a fucking celebrity. You already got. I just saw a picture of you on your yacht. You're on a yacht, bro. Like, you got it. Like, can you just try hard? David Batista should not be lapping you. He is lapping you. It's not even like he's ahead of you. He has lapped you, bro. You are literally the worst guy on Mario Kart Super Nintendo version where you can't make it around the rainbow track. Like, you started off awesome. You started off in the beginning of the tournament and you were fucking rushing it. You're a killer. You're
all right.
And then all of a sudden, when the bumpers go away, and all of a sudden when you actually have to start driving, you're flying off the fucking track. You can't handle it. But the guy you were making fun of the whole time while you're standing next to a leash man playing free Mario Kart back in the day, yeah, that's the thing, people. I'm on a whole nother segment. Back in the day, the best way to play fucking free video games was go to like a big department store or a mall, something like that, like a leash mare. And they will always have video games set up. If you got yourself in a good situation, you got like a good couple of hours of just free fucking video games. But anyway, you're literally the guy who's making fun of the little kid who couldn't fucking handle it at first, but now he's actually driving. Now that little kid's figured things out. Now all of a sudden, he's not only fucking beating you, he's hitting you with the goddamn skid around the corner so perfectly. Like, he's edging it. He's edging it so well. He's looking at you. He's staring at you. He's not even looking at the screen anymore. My man's 8 years old. You're 12. He's just staring at you like, what did you do with your life before this moment? That's all I'm saying, fucking Vin Diesel. That's all I'm saying. But I digress. I'm just, there's so many things that like we got to talk about because of this podcast, and something I've always wanted to talk about is like how fucking weird the early 90s were, and like the imagery around it, and how like it would shift from things from like really hokey sort of like Americana white image to like, oh, by the way, we're also getting taken over by the Japanese, and everything in the future somehow had a kimono style built into it. Like we were able to talk about how fucking I don't know, it's just we were robbed, or how I don't know. I'm all over the place because I'm emotional, and I'm so happy and thankful for these two guys. I can't. I told Josh ahead of time I'm not going to be able to focus on one episode. I'm glad he brought Ray because at least I had something to think about. But I really hope. I really hope that the individuals who've given us their time, that they have enjoyed it. I hope that they understand how sincere I am in thanking them. And it culminated by my wife, weirdly enough, a couple of weeks ago, just being like, hey, I listened to your podcast. And it's kind of like led at that. And then she's like, oh yeah, and it's good. And I kind of thought it would end there. And she, like some of you guys, have been listening ever since. I hope that we continue to do right by you. And I look forward to having some weird thing to say in 2022 in our next Christmas letter. And I do hope that we universally appreciate each other, because if we can't celebrate touching the sun, then I'm not sure if we even should be moving forward. Wait, that's that went right off the rails. And I was gonna connect it a bunch of different ways. I don't know. I just got too emotional. But thank you guys. Thank you
I
very much. And really, the reviews, uh, that's gonna make me cry. Thank you guys. Thank you.
I want to thank you very sincerely. I love hearing you say that. I love working with you, and I loved that you started off in such a wonderful and emotionally in touch and cogent way. And then you got your speed up and you just went 3 close on that shit.
And not surprisingly, I use a Mario reference, which you guys love to say I hit the Mario star. I do want to point out one last thing, and it would not be an episode if I didn't go past my live time where I was like kind of winding down. It looked like I had everything I was gonna say, but my mind, like I said, it's fucking weird. But I just want to point out also that these guys also somehow tolerate me, because what you guys hear is really the only time that we're recording. What I actually do to these guys is way worse. I'm hitting them basically the same thing I'm doing right now in this episode via text throughout the week. I am often giving them pages of rants, just rants. I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about half the time. I have a question in my head, and I have a thought, and I have to share it with someone. And these two guys suffered me. So, and I love them so much, and I appreciate it. Half the time they don't even respond. Like literally, Josh will just hit me with a whole new meme that has nothing to do with what I just said. And Greg, like, I'll hear from him the next day. It'll basically be the same thing. These guys will just tolerate me. They suffer me. I love them. Josh, special shout out to you for always cutting this up and making it sound a little bit legible. And Greg, my man, always bringing us with the illustrations, the representation of our logo. We are very, very, I don't know. Thank you.
We are truly blessed with the team effort. I mean, it's been great. It's been it's a wonderful collaboration, and I love that you hit the Mario star. That's your place, man. That is like,
I don't know how I connected that. I wasn't even thinking that.
Because that's who you are, though. Like, I totally believe that's who you are when I see you that. And people, this was, as I say, this endeavor was a bit of a leap of faith, right? We just sort of jump on the mic and did our best, and it, and it's become more and more enjoyable by each week. But we had to figure out, what the hell we were doing, who the hell we are, and where we all fit into this, right? There's 3 of us, and we're all trying to kind of figure out our voices as it goes on. But it became pretty clear early on, man. You could just you just felt that emotion. You could just go with it, and I absolutely love it. Look forward to it every week, because that's what I want, man. That's what I want out of my pop culture. I want a guy who can just tell
what you guys
to do better.
Basically what you guys get is literally what my wife hears all day, every day. So if anything, I think she thanks you for giving her a little bit of an outlet. a little bit of some refuge.
For our listeners, I definitely want to thank Sarah for listening, because that I got the feelings in the cockles of my heart when I hear that Sarah says, "Hey, I listened to your podcast and it's good," because she's the only wife who listens. So thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So we do appreciate that, but of course,
she is a saint.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all of our wives could certainly
well said
be made for canonization. Okay, they all. And I'm very grateful, because I occasionally will attempt to drop these ideas on my wife, and she just pretty much looks at me and says, "I don't care, like, at all, like, not one bit." So. Cool.
Also, shout out to Amelia. Thanks for joining us. That definitely was pretty awesome, and part of our growth definitely goes to you.
You bet, Amelia. Thanks. We loved having you on for that episode, and we're looking for just a warning. If you're listening to us again, Amelia, I've got my sights on having you on again for another true crime episode, because we did one of those earlier on, and it's been a little while since we visited that. So I think we got to try and get Amelia back for some true crime. But Greg, you said that you didn't grow up with Christmas, and that your family wasn't doing the gift thing or the Christmas letter. But what do you think you have for our listening folks out there, Star Child? How we gonna?
Oh, I really all right.
The new year.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I gotta follow that, um, I'm not going to get that emotional.
No, sir.
There it is. I'm not going to get that emotional. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
sir.
I feel like
From
you
the guy whose advice to Rashawn was like, no, you got to become a stone cold liar. You got to look.
stone cold
You got to look right in their eyes and just fucking kill their dreams.
and lie to the people that protect you and give you a place to live. Yes, that's exactly what you have to do. Not just for them, but not just for you, but also for them. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, life is a journey, you know what I'm saying? And I've got very fortunate to have these two fellow journeymen, and we're gonna go on this fantastic quest. And yeah, nobody gets out alive, but I definitely didn't want to go on it alone. So I'm glad you fellas are with me on it. And we could totally do this. I also completely agree that we're giving our poor wives a break. Like our poor wife. I mean, they signed on for a lot, but there was nothing in the vows about this shit. So, it's just right. I mean, that's just not fair. You know what I mean? Just listening to me babble about communism. It's like, honey, I just want to watch Trevor Noah. Okay. So I think we're very fortunate to have each other and these unbelievably understanding women, without a doubt. Yeah, like this has been the whole thing. The whole project has been a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Like I didn't, like Josh said, I was a little bit reluctant myself, but because I just didn't know anything about the medium. Like I didn't really know like what are we gonna do. But I feel like as we go, you have to treat it like any other art project. Like you just jump in feet first and you figure it out as you go. And that's the learning process. Like it's just, if you're going to take on any project like this, you have to absolutely accept the process. So doing like a year in review, yeah, our first ones, I think I took it like really, like a cerebral project. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna get into each other's minds and just like, nah, Greg, the Warriors, bring it down. So it was like I tried to bring it down to like, just like what these things, mean to me personally. The Warriors, like I really wanted to focus on the subcultures again, because that's also gay and trans cultures. Like that was also, a lot of things that are popular culture now. Like you're talking about hip hop, you're talking about the blues, like you're talking about a lot of things that started deep underground in a shack somewhere. And I think movies, I don't know, movies like The Warriors, they just embraced that diversity in the subcultures, like Easy Rider, like just embrace something in the subculture. So that was definitely one of my favorite episodes. Japanese culture was definitely one of my favorite episodes, you know what I'm saying? Because so many people also get so much of the contribution from Japan wrong. So, it was really fun to get past, sushi and hentai and like really, give it, or sushi and you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And get past that and move on to the long-term things that we're so happy about. And James Bond, like we ended up deconstructing Bond in that whole thing. And these just archetypes of masculinity. And earlier we were talking about stereotypes of the breadwinner, and I have no problem with a woman being James Bond and James Bond starting a podcast, because you know what, maybe a lot of right, maybe a lot of men are perfectly happy with stepping down and letting you have those reins, because I want to do pottery now. Okay, like I have no problem with that. You keep the lights on, I'm going to do pottery with the kids. It's going to be great. Another, the soundtrack episode, like I'm a music fiend. It's unhealthy. Like sometimes I have so much music that I just get lost completely. And it was a chance to talk about James Horner, right? Somewhere between John Williams and James Horner, that's like the soundtrack of our lives, before Hans Zimmer just went full on for everything.
I'm still telling you, when it comes to James Horner, go and find, well, you can find it on 2 movies because they used it on 2 movies, but go find Battle Beyond the Stars, or if you need to, Space Raiders. Those were the 2 movies made by the same guy who just reused the same props and reused
Absolutely.
the same soundtrack.
Absolutely.
Exact same props, exact same soundtracks.
We Was Robbed. I think We Was Robbed is one of the ones that really, because there's some subjects that we touch on this that I feel like are what our podcast and these conversations are really about, because it is important to us as fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are looking forward to seeing the moment when, you know, whatever it is in the Justice League or the Hobbit or Harry Potter, you're looking forward to it happening. And when it doesn't, like, that's a lot of our conversation. Like, you were really looking forward to that epic moment, and then that epic moment didn't happen. Like, you were looking forward to the release of this big film, and it was a dud. Like, you heard that they were going to do something different about it. Now, nah, son, that didn't hit. That did not hit at all. And
I would like to
it really
remind
does
people
leave you
again.
with a bad taste in your mouth, because that's canon. And unless somebody takes over the whole franchise and starts all over again, and we'll probably get that part wrong again, you're never going to see it. You're never going to see it again. You know, so it can leave a bad taste in your mouth. It really does. And, you know, then there was that one episode where I got to be the bad guy and shit talk He-Man, which, for the record, I've been doing since I was a child. I was a giant robot with guns kid. All right. Kung Fu movies, Godzilla movies, robots with giant guns, sometimes G.I. Joe. So He-Man, yeah, I have no problem shit talking He-Man, none whatsoever. So when that Netflix series came out, I had no problem just dropping it. And I got to be the 100% bad guy and not like that version of He-Man. I said the 2000s He-Man and Masters of the Universe, that's the one that you want to see. There actually is a more kid-friendly version on Netflix right now too. I haven't watched it yet, but I have heard good things. So I mean, if it's that kid-friendly, I probably won't watch it. But yeah, I had no problem shit talking He-Man through that whole thing, and I had no problem being the bad guy because, yeah, it kind of sucked.
Telling you, you're missing out in the second part. They released the second episodes, man. We're coming back to it. You're not off the hook yet.
Yeah. First season was good. Second season was good. And I would like to remind people once again, I never once asked to have midichlorians explained. Never once.
That falls into that category. Yes, absolutely. And then my favorite one, where I think, you know what I mean, I definitely told a little too much about myself, was the guilty pleasures one. It's like, look, man, y'all said guilty pleasures. You know what I mean? Like, you motherfuckers are like, oh, I put 3 scoops of sugar in my coffee. It was like, no, man. Fuck all that. You know, that's a guilty pleasure shit. You know what I mean? Stopping at the red light on the crosswalk. No, that's not a guilty pleasure. Okay. Hot potato with severed penis is guilty pleasure. Do we need to Google guilty pleasure? Like, why was this so hard? And then,
I mentioned Kelly Clarkson. What do you want from me?
Kelly Clarkson. Dude said Kelly Clarkson.
Hey, I'm saying, man, that's a guilty ass. I am sitting there and says, "Since you've been gone," I am singing along with that shit. I'm belting that shit out. Come on.
Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, go. But you know, I'll be over here with my human centipede. It's fine. And then the love letter to Generation X. Just what Clerks. That's the one about Clerks, right?
That is it.
Yeah, that was the deep dive. Kevin Smith, the deep dive on Clerks. I thought, again, you know, generationally, at least some part of our generation anyway. But generationally, yeah, I think it was an important movie for a couple of reasons. I tried to touch on all of them, but the counterculture movies again, the Warriors, Easy Rider, Cool Hand Luke, and what that says about what that generation wanted at the time. A really important conversation, and I think Kevin Smith really touched on it. And you know I think the pay. All right, I'm gonna bring it all back around because the Riddick episode, the Riddick episode of I didn't know what to make of it. I actually had to go back and watch the fucking Chronicles of Riddick because I didn't remember it. I didn't remember the movie. It's really not an obsession of mine, and I don't pay attention to Vin Diesel's career very much, you know what I mean? But he does remind me of Schwarzenegger. If you pay him, he will be the main man that says 8 lines, or he'll be the guy in the background that grunts. Like he doesn't care. Like he will absolutely do that part. And
Man
that's
gave you
just
Conan the Barbarian, you tyrant.
I know.
right. Like I don't know. That's just who Vin Diesel is to me. So I think
Yeah,
we
like
had
3 lines.
I touched a little bit on last season and this season. I think we're rolling in a really great direction. And yeah, thank you to the listeners. Because I know, especially now, everybody and their mother is starting a podcast, a blog, or a vlog, or something. So to choose us, thank you. Thank you so much to choose us out of all of that.
That is a wonderful gift for the year, for the holiday, without a doubt. And yes, you're right.
Touching on Star Child's last point about the Generation X and the fact that we've brought up my lovely wife, who's frankly the sort of star of the show today. Hi, Sarah. So with that said, funny thing is, when she goes away, she knows I'm basically is kind of like bench sci-fi and horror movies because she doesn't want to watch them more often than not. And she listens to us, however, more often than not, other than like pop culture from like really like the 80s, like He-Man and stuff like that. But she didn't know about the new one. She has no real connection. She just, thinks we're idiots and it's fun to listen to while she's sitting in traffic. However, she did say that the Clerks one was actually one where she emotionally connected with. That we hit upon a chord of almost anyone who is, in their teens in that part of the 90s. And when that movie came out and sort of culturally what ended up sort of impacting all of us, even if you disagreed with our points, which I forgot to share with you guys. And Greg just reminded me. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. We appreciate it. Merry Christmas right back to you.
Thank you. Like she's the unofficial Steam lady.
Yeah.
We have Steam ladies.
That's true.
Lady.
Steam ladies. If there are any women out there that, want to join us, we are more than happy to have you on. We know we can sometimes bring dude energy. We get that. Yep. We try and keep a tamper on it. It's that fine line. There's going to be some humor to be found there, but at the same time, we don't want to be those guys. I mean, for Christ's sakes, most of us, we're all in our 40s. It's like, we get it, we can only take it so far, but we're in our 40s and we still like to play with toys. Like I'm buying the toys for my kids, and they're like, yeah, what do you want to get the kids for? Oh, the kids. Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I'll stick to my Switch.
Hey, we got to switch. Yeah, absolutely. And my kids totally wanted Knights of the Old Republic when I got it for them. I'm sure they did. Really, they did. As we're working our way through as both a light side and a dark side character. But of course, this was all my kids' idea, without a doubt. But well, thank you, Greg. I'm glad that, I'm super grateful that we got you on board too, as well. Even though it was, the only credit I'm going to give myself here for is geniusness of this is when I figured out if I teamed up with Rashawn, we could definitely get you on board. So that was my only credit was my.
Yeah, I mean, it worked.
my evil streak of manipulation. I'm like, how do I do that? Rashawn, he can do it. He'll talk him into it. This will be great. They're already working together on a
Yeah,
project.
because you and Greg agree on most things. You know, give Greg an opportunity to go against a point he doesn't like. Here you are.
I won't, the funny part is I won't lead us down too much of a rabbit hole here, but when Greg and I initially met, I think like the basis of our friendship was that we didn't agree on many things. And then it was, then I don't know, just the world, the shit show that has been the late, aughts, the late teens and now early 20s here,
You say that, but I have a great deal of love for that, special period in our friendship. Let me take you back, listeners. Let me take you back. So I would come into work, half asleep, one eye open, sitting here pretending to do God knows whatever people give me money for. And then charging across the lobby comes Josh. And I'm like, oh shit, he read something. All right. You read something. All right. What is it? What is it? What happened? What went down? What was it?
Yeah.
And honestly, that would wake me up in the morning. That was my wake up, Yeah, get all my pistons firing first thing in the morning. Like I'm over here, trying to remember every detail of the Civil War. And as much as I'd like to take credit for Josh's change in worldview. No, it was like you said, the world that got fucked.
Yeah. Shit shows are in the end. Shit shows are the most convincing argument. I don't care whatever we're talking about.
I mean, I'm as much as I would like to say it was my brilliant points and my convincing oratory. No, shit went to hell.
Don't undercredit yourself. You make great oratory, and Rashad and I think you have the best voice of us all. So I think
absolutely, without a doubt,
we
not even close.
We're always like, we can all set it up, but Greg's gonna come in and start singing right to them. That's how that's gonna be. Right?
I've been fucking with my voice like Christian Bale being Batman since this whole thing been working. My voice does not sound like this normally, and this is the best I got.
Radio announcer voice, Christian Bale voice. You gotta work around all of them. So
I got a face for radio and a voice for TV.
There we go.
Muted TV. Bar room, late afternoon, 4 people in their TV.
God, well, we've all worked in that environment, and thankfully, as crazy and as shitty as the world has gotten the last couple of years, we haven't ended up back there, so we're doing okay.
We're doing all right. Yeah,
all of us have worked at a bar at one point or another, and none of us do anymore, so we're doing okay. Greg, you're absolutely right. I knew just what space we were in, and when Schitt's Creek was teasing, when I was watching an episode, and the guy who's the town realtor and everything else is like, talks about how he's stepping down from city council. It's like, but I'm sure you heard about it on my podcast. So I'm like, okay. That's the space we're living in. I get it, but yeah, it is still a bit of a Wild West medium. It's still evolving. It's still a lot of fun, and this is the last place to live the dream and the unconquered frontier, where you're just a man with his wits.
Free entertainment will always survive, my man.
Without a doubt. So no, I am so grateful to be here with you guys. So glad we've had so much fun, and looking forward to having some more. We want to take it, into new territory. I meant what I said. If you're out there and you've got an idea, do you even steambro at Gmail is the work address currently. Rashawn's been talking to me about expanding on some of that stuff, and we just kind of keep trying to add to it week to week, all in between our day jobs, all in between raising kids and everything else, keeping the lights on and everything else we got to do in our lives. But this is really the artistic fun and pleasure. Loved reading those reviews. Some of them are really making me feel great. If you're out there, if you haven't had a chance, that's the best holiday gift you could give to your third, fourth, fifth, sixth favorite podcast here, whichever it lays down. Maybe your only favorite podcast, because I know some people I've talked into listening to them just through this. So if you shoot on over to Apple Podcasts or to iTunes, it takes a little while. By the way, just one of those things we found out this week when someone was telling me they had submitted a review. It takes a few days. Apple likes to take its time. I got to actually get on them about changing our artwork because I changed it months ago. But we really would appreciate you shooting on over, letting people know that we're out here and what's going on with us. And we love having you here. We want more of you. So, if you have that time, if you think we're funny, if you don't like us, send us to people you don't like. If you do like us, send us to people you do like. It's a very simple, straightforward thing. Help push that steam through that piston and move it on out into the ethos. We always appreciate that. But wrapping up our little holiday roundup here. Three of Clubs, how you doing? How you feeling heading into the holidays here?
Doing good. About to really push my fucking luck here. All right. So I have a really weird fucking imagination. I know I've said this multiple times. It's led me to a lot of interesting moments in my life. None of them great, but some of them interesting. Anyway, so with all that said, everything kind of connects in a weird thing. I don't believe in coincidences. I do love sci-fi for a reason of just playing with the idea of what actually reality is and how things get connected. If you've noticed, normally in episodes where we get to create, like when I think it was even last episode where we're coming up with Christmas movie ideas, like it's not that I don't come alive other times, but like the idea of being able to literally make multiple movies of all these weird harebrained ideas really gets me excited because life in a lot of ways connects. So point being is, as Greg's talking about the moment in the past, which is about a decade ago, at that same time, Josh was one of my mentors at work. And one of the reasons why we even came to exist to this point where our friendship is where it is and we're able to do what we have done is this sort of weird universal connection of what would end up happening is I barely even knew Greg at that moment, but I would always, as Josh was helping me understand the industry that we were in, we would also engage in weird banter that would, slowly understand that we thought about things in a very similar way when it came to pop culture, which is why, in a lot of ways, connection number one, we always end up when we do lists, end up having like 80% being matching. You hear me all the time cursing when Greg's going off because he's always nailing shit that I want to talk about. Josh is no different. We always end up with the same list. So while this is going on, I'm developing a friendship with Josh. I actually see Josh at the desk where Greg is working when I come up in the beginning of my career at where we are, and that's how I started friendship with Greg, because I would see Josh feel comfortable enough. Because again, this man was like a mentor to me, and he doesn't ever accept this, but truly, because I'm still in the industry that I'm in now, is because of individuals like Josh. So I see Josh. He's one of the people that let me be comfortable. I go up to him. I start engaging in the conversations with him. Not always agreeing with Greg, but understand Greg's also another like-minded individual that I really like to vibe with. And moved to, I would end up talking to Greg when Josh wasn't even there, to the point where Greg and I developed a friendship. So it's incredible how all these things work to how we fast forward to here we are now. And I again love and appreciate everyone. And I would like to reiterate, I do hope, because this holiday that we're about to approach on 12/25 is in fact very much commercial. I hope that people universally celebrate it. All are welcome. I hope everyone has a moment of at least peace and pleasure. And I love every one of you. And thank you.
Oh, well, thank you again. This has been definitely a love fest, and that's okay. That's what we need.
I get emotional, man. There's not one Christmas movie that I can watch without crying. I literally watched Jingle Jangle last year, which was a pretty good movie. But I literally made it like 40 minutes in, and I am doing my best not to cry. This is an emotional time. Every Christmas to me is 1988. It's that's the
that's
Christmas
real. What you just said right there.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean? That's the deep stuff right there.
I've been lucky. That's all. Yeah. I've been lucky, and you too prove that.
Well, we are lucky. We are lucky to meet you, my friend. And well, thank you for all the kind words you said to me. Appreciate that. Still glad to be here with you. Still glad to be shooting the shit and talking shit like we always want to do. And Gregory, Star Child, what you doing in this holiday season? You got anything good going on with Miss Kimberly there?
It's looking to be, a very regular Christmas, and I mean that in a good way. Like things are falling into place in the midst of all of the chaos. So we're taking it a day at a time, and living in the moment.
Back to it. Well, I think that stumbles on to our future plans about Greg doing a blog as a white woman when he says things like living in the moment or being authentic.
Living in the moment.
Being authentic.
YOLO.
You got anything?
I don't think they say YOLO anymore either.
Maybe. I mean,
I don't know if they say YOLO.
You know who you're talking to when you hear it. That's all I'm saying.
Is it on Fox News? If they say it on Fox News, it's done, right? If anybody's throwing out those hashtags, we know it's over. But any other hopes for the new year, my friend? Any other places that you're looking forward to taking us?
Oh, myself. I mean, we're gonna see what happens in the next year, because I think, the fact that it's going to be called 2022, like 2020 also.
Oh, yep.
Is worrying me a little bit. But I think we're going to open all sorts of new possibilities, and I definitely want to talk a little bit more about music in the coming season. So I think we've got a lot of grist for the mill, as you always say.
I think that's absolutely true, and I think you're right. I think we do need to hit some more music points, more notes, if you will. Dad joke. See what I did there? Very good.
I suck at dad jokes.
I'm not.
Yo, okay. It's not that anybody really wants anyone to be good at it, but I still feel like it's something you should be good at. I suck at dad jokes.
I love dad jokes. I am here for dad jokes. They always land. I don't give a damn who. Like, people who say dad jokes don't land are just denying pleasure to themselves. They're just lying.
I sincerely agree with you there. And to me, it's my space.
I mean, the progressive with the guy who's like the Josh doppelganger at the mall. He's like, you know what kind of fish it's in there? Don't be coy. I mean, come on. Let's go, Jerry. Let's go.
Wait, say that again.
The guy comes up to this teenager sitting on the edge of a fountain, and there's fish in there, and he's like, you know what kind of fish those are? And the guy's like, the teenager, he slaps him on the arms like, don't be coy, as in koi fish.
As in koi fish.
I love them. Come on.
That's the best. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I just don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have that special spark.
Greg. Okay. Greg, it's because you're too cool. Like,
you should have been a Jehovah's Witness. I'm just gonna be real, man. You remind me of a family that lived up the street from me.
I don't know. Maybe
you remind me of a family that lived up the street from me, where like the first time I met him was like the most depressing conversation I had as a 7-year-old. Like, we were just like getting to know each other. It somehow moved to birthday cake, and they're like, we don't get birthday cakes. I'm like, God damn. God damn. That is some gray, dark shit right there. I mean, I've had a toy taken away at 4. I've had shit repoed by 5. I've lived in a motel by 6. And even at that moment, I'm looking at this kid like, fuck, you've had a rough go at it, man. I mean, God damn.
No birthday cake?
No celebration whatsoever. At least this family, the way they celebrated. I want to speak for the whole faith. I mean, you can come at me. I don't give a shit. But I'm just pointing out, this family, they were real about it. Like, no gifts, no cakes. I'm like, no even cakes. Is like, no cakes. Weird other fact, they were down to fight all the time. Like, we used to have these weird sort of like the Warriors type fights in this neighborhood. The neighborhood was like 12 fucking houses long and went up a street, but they're at the top, we were at the bottom. We would meet sometimes in the middle and we'd get into a rumble. We're like 7 to 8 years old, and we're just straight up just going at it. It was weird as shit. And then the funny part is, the people who were on our side were like devout Catholics. Like, so in the middle, like me and like the atheists were like in the middle, like, yeah, we're a bunch of heathens. Our parents go to church every Christmas Eve and Easter. Like, we don't count. Like, my boy Jimmy, he got a community, so I guess he counts. But then you got like these devout Catholics having a fucking religion war against the Jehovah's Witnesses at the top. We don't even get cake. I'm like, oh my God. This is
Damn.
why I'm here, people. This is why
I got
I'm here.
graphic. Seriously.
This
What
is
kind
how
of Lord
life
of the
is
Fly
evolved.
shit is this?
Thank God.
This is
Thank God for
Framingham,
podcasts.
1987, the site of the biggest religious war that's never been told.
All right.
Thank God for podcasts, because we don't know what Rashawn would be up to without it. It
Oh,
might be-
yeah. I like how we just called out all Jehovah's Witnesses, like, yo, bring it the fuck on.
Well, they ain't celebrating.
Yeah, give your kids cake. That's all I'm saying, man.
We all know they ain't celebrating Christmas, so they're not going to be listening to this episode. That's for damn sure.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
There it is.
Yeah.
But well, gentlemen, it's as always been a blast. I thank you all for coming out. I thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for giving your best to the listeners. We really like it. We want to keep doing it, and we're just looking forward to it beyond compare for the next year. Please, like I said, that gift of those reviews is always good. And while we're not going to emphasize the consumerism of the holiday, you happen to look in the episode description and you do see that link for the merch. Just saying, makes these, if you're gonna go the consumer version, supporting your favorite podcast via a t-shirt or sweatshirt or whatever, you can print up on there. It's we got a lot of designs, because Greg thankfully keeps us looking sharp and looking wonderful. I want to thank you again. We really hope you all have a great holiday, whatever you want to do it on. Christmas, Hanukkah, even though that's already passed this year. Kwanzaa, we don't care. Whatever you want to do.
For the rest of us.
Festivus for the rest of us. Whatever you want to do on 12/25, you do. You do you. And hope you get some relaxation. Hope you get a little bit of a break from whatever the hell's been going on this year, whatever the hell that was in 2021. But we're looking forward to bringing it back to you again in 2022. We want you to keep living your life, keep loving those close to you, keep that heat up, and you keep that head of steam on.